pra cima. E joga a bunda 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 pra cima. Joga a bunda pra cima, e 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 joga a bunda pra cima.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. I'm Craig Elston, joined, as always, by Tony Sanchez from SanDiego.Futbol for Season 8, Episode 8 of your weekly tour through the MASL. Sockers are road warriors. They conquer the Baltimore, Utica back-to-back, and they do it with a team at half strength, if that. Quite a weekend for your San Diego Sockers. Good evening, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing well. Recovering after suffering with the Sockers all weekend too, but from the comfort of my home. But I kind of miss the Sockers already here, and it's going to be a long January without them, but hopefully they can continue the streak on the road.
Well, on the show tonight, Sockers rallied twice. Not once, but twice, trailing by 3, looking dim late second quarter, and then come all the way back and win. We've got 2 match recaps for you from Baltimore, and then the next day from Utica. We'll bring you all the highlights. We'll bring you all of our thoughts, and then we'll bring you a conversation with one of the newest Sockers and the guy who's made a big impact on this team in just 3 games, Adrian Reyes. He has scored in every game he has appeared in as a San Diego Socker. He netted a brace in the Baltimore game, including the go-ahead goal. He scored the game-tying goal against Utica. We'll chat to Adrian and find out what allowed his soccer path to cross with San Diego and his thoughts on being in the MASL for all of a couple of weeks and a very unrepresentative sample size. Oh, is this the league where you just fly for hours and hours and days and play? Well, sometimes. We'll talk to Adrian. That's coming up a little bit later on. Then we'll get to MASL news, of course. The league finally gets their awards right this week and gets them right for December as well. That sounds very provincial, but we'll bring you those results, plus another look at the standings table, which I think defined itself a little bit more over the course of last weekend. Lastly, in soccer's news, it'll be time to preview what looks like a really, really big game on the schedule all of a sudden at Milwaukee. Wave beat you here. Want to let them take the 2-0? Or grab second place all for yourself and maybe first place. Who knows the way things are going in Kansas City. It's all ahead. It's all live on YouTube. Soccer's Overtime. Welcome to everybody who is here joining us on the SanDiego.Futbol channel. Thanks to everybody who finds us for the live broadcasts. If we can get as close to 100% ratio of viewers to thumbs ups, hit that like button. I know you enjoy the program. You're here live. Please do us the service. Takes half a second. Click like. Hit subscribe as well so you can be notified every time Soccer's Overtime and SanDiego.Futbol goes live. If you're listening to the audio version of this show, thanks for doing so. Understand that when we go through these recaps and such, you're listening to a video show, so you might want to go check out the YouTube replay later. But if you can drop us a kind rating and review, always that will help. And we thank you one and all for your support of the San Diego Sockers, of this program, of the franchise in general, and of indoor soccer in general. Boy, Tony, it's crazy what 2 weeks can do for the fortunes of a franchise. This club is dinged up, and believe me, as we go through the night, even more so. Even more so. They've just been facing one battle after another. Shout out Golden Globes. And they have come out of it on the other side this weekend with 6 points on a road trip that almost nobody gets 6 points out of. And in particular, some of the stories I've heard about the road woe that they had in between Baltimore and Utica, and an almost 8-hour trip from Maryland to upstate New York, and getting there as the sun is rising on Utica for a 3:00 local time game with no sleep other than what you catch on a bus, which, as you know, is nasty, furtive, and short. So, with all of that, for this club to get 6 points out of this weekend, we said it on last week's show, it opens up doors for the rest of the season and for what it can mean. And I truly think they saw that and they opened that door.
Yeah, and a lot of different Soccers are stepping up. Some of the ones that you were waiting to see a little bit more from at the beginning of the season, trying to get some rust out. And I keep thinking to that interview and talk with assistant coach Rene Ortiz, and just telling everybody, hey, relax. Some of these Soccers, they're getting up in age, but that experience is going to come through. It's almost a matter of just warming things up. And that's exactly what these two games were, right? Both of them, they go down early and they just have to warm up into the game and just still be able to get the result. Getting some good performances from Nick Pereira and some of the new kids as well. The Sockers as an organization have done very well for themselves in this last weekend, and now get a little bit of breathing room. And hopefully you start to get some help on the back end, and you still have to go ahead and make it happen on the road, though, with one coming up that's, like you said, incredibly important for the rest of the season.
I heard earlier this year our dear friend Phil Levanco on MASL Monday enact an old NBA thought called the Ewing theory, when he was talking about the Tacoma Stars. And I'm just going to be honest, I don't think Phil was right in terms of the analogy. I don't think Tacoma got better because Nick Pereira left. I don't think actually that at all, that they got better with Nick Pereira and Chris Toth leaving. I think they're 5-0 at home. I think that's what's happened, and they've had some great advantages at home, and they've taken advantage of it at home. But that's not a diss on Tacoma. The point is to bring up the Ewing theory, because the Ewing theory was that the New York Knicks could only get so far with Patrick Ewing as the center and the focus of their team. And that when everything ran through Patrick Ewing and when he was the focal point offensively and defensively, it didn't allow the rest of the club to breathe. And when Ewing left the Knicks, the next year, the team as a collective seemed to grow because everyone had a chance to eat and everyone had a chance to play. In a weird way, I feel like the Sockers experienced either Ewing theory on steroids or reverse Ewing theory, because in this case, when there's so much talent on a team and you've got Nick Pereira, but you've got Craig Childs, but you've got Tavoy Morgan, but you've got Charlie Gonzalez, but you've got Gabriel Costa, but you've got Luis Morales. I mean, just right there, I've mentioned 6 guys who can all by themselves be the focal point of a major arena soccer league offense, be the player that you run your offense through and you get everything out of. And if you can have 2 of those guys, that's great. Now it's one or the other, right? If you can get 3 of those guys, that's incredible. It's going to be hard to stop. Okay, now you get 2 lines, but keep moving up. But when you get to a team that's entirely and almost without exception, players who can be the focal point of an offense and players who you can run the offense through, well, then the offense could be run through anyone, and now it's run through no one. And unless they're playing in perfect hive mind, it's going to be tough. There are challenges that are going to present themselves. What I am getting to as a long-winded point, Tony, is that it felt like with the roster as depleted as it was of its depth and its balance, a natural order appeared. Run the ball through Nick because he's healthy and upright, and you can do that. Charlie's there. Push the ball through Charlie, and let everyone else flow off of that. And that reduction of talent, strangely, helped the Sockers define their purpose in terms of where the ball had to go and who had to succeed, and those players succeeded.
Yeah, it's almost like finding the scaffolding for the recipe for success for the rest of the season, where now you can have players coming back. You have a lot of talent still on the outskirts, but the players that were there were able to figure out and really have an identity about themselves and really start to figuring everybody out, instead of having so many players at once. And again, there's only one ball, and there's only so many offensive possessions, defensive possessions where you can really practice in game time moments. This is, again, building that bedrock of chemistry for this team. And if they can go ahead and start adding and building on what they're having and what they've been showcasing the last couple of games, then I think the Sockers are going to be in a much better spot than we were when we were talking about them losing to the Milwaukee Wave here at home and the Empire Strikers on day one. So I think now there's that sense of some players are getting more comfortable. There's also maybe a competitive edge. You see some of these players that are coming in and are proving that it's possible to adapt to a system and come into it and be successful. You saw with Adrian Reyes and what he's been able to do and how important he's been to the squad. But also, looking at the back end is how sustainable is this going to be? How long can these players maintain this level? How long is Boris? How much of the super soldier serum does he have in him? Because it's been working, and if it's an infinite amount, then it's okay. But all these factors that have been very positive for the Sockers usually don't happen in concert of themselves, but it's been working, and now it's a matter of not letting up and keeping building on that chemistry and build on the expectations, because now I have expectations for the San Diego Sockers team moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, you just said it. The other thing that has to be said before we get to the highlight reels is when you think about the concept, like the win condition for the 25-26 San Diego Sockers, part of what they were built upon was the idea that, hey, we're going to have these tough back-to-backs. We're going to have these tough travel challenges, but we've got 2 all-world goalkeepers. So we're never going to have to push them into situations where they're forced into back-to-backs and they're forced into 3 games in a week and they're forced into 5 games in 2 weeks. We're always going to be able to go, Chris, you take game 1, Boris, you take game 2, or Boris, you take game 1, Chris, you take game 2. Chris, fly ahead. Go to Utica, spend the night, get ready for the next game. Well, once Chris Toth takes a broken finger and is out, indefinitely, it comes literally at the moment that the Sockers are about to play 5 games in 2 weeks, 4 of them on the road, 2 travel back-to-backs, the exact thing that they built the 2 goalkeeper roster for. And instead, here comes Boris Pardo, and he's playing some of the best soccer of his life. Here are his numbers through the 5 games since the broken finger for Toth. And of course, this includes a shutout. 4-1 record. The 1 loss is the game up in Tacoma last Sunday that was the back-to-back. And as you remember, when we played through that highlight reel on last week's show, the defense abandoned their keeper in the fourth quarter. They ran out of gas, something that didn't happen in Utica on Sunday. So that's the only one. 4-1, goals against 3.34. Get a pretty decent salary if you're a major league reliever with a 3.34. Save percentage 809, and that's 55 saves in the 5 games. So while many times in soccer's history, it's been 5 great games and you made 34 saves in that time because the defense was so strong and you were seeing 6-7 shots in a game. Instead, he's seen 68 shots over the 5 games and made 55 saves and played basically 270 minutes. It's like 269 and change, 270 minutes over 5 games. So just an Iron Man performance, and punctuated by Sunday when Nathaniel Lindquist gets the start. The team comes in at dawn. The trainer says, no go on this. Boris can't play the whole game. Don't do it. Lindquist starts. He plays well, and then he doesn't. And the team's down 3, and Boris rides to the rescue. I mean, there's no question in my mind he has been the most important player in the MASL over the course of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. To step up with such leadership, and it's even mentioned by the younger players. I think it was Sebastian who was also just kind of looking and seeing by example of what it takes to really be of that level and of that caliber, right? You have to go ahead and step up, not just in the game time, but in training. And it seems like overall it's been working out for Boris Pardo, and he's leading by that example. And being on the mic and having a chance to shout out his defense. And again, that defense has also been huge. There's a reason why they've been able to go ahead and stop some of these high attacking, high scoring offenses and even shut them out, right? Like that was a huge boost to the confidence for the entire soccer squad from top to bottom. But again, the shining jewel, the gem right now is Boris Pardo and the way that he's playing. So hopefully, again, maintain that health, maintain that recovery, and hopefully he's able to go ahead and carry this until Toth is able to come back and help out.
All right, let's show you the pictures to match the words and show you what we're talking about, starting with Baltimore. And in this game, of course, playing on the baby field, CQ Arena, it's always going to be a challenge. It's a very different game. And Boris comes up to the challenge right away. These are the types of plays you have to make, the extra wide crease, taking advantage of it. Sockers have a couple of chances. Pereira off the left post. Ruggles will come up with one that he has a good look at, and it's wide, but no score after the first quarter. Then the dam breaks. Early second quarter, giveaway, 3v1 down low, tap in goal. Victor Pereira's. The types of breakdowns that the Blast love to take advantage of on the college basketball field, Tony.
Yeah, and it's those quick bang bang plays that really catch the Sockers on the back foot, where again they're traditionally starting a little slower in the game. They want that possession, and to be able to have those quick reflexes, I was starting to look like, oh man, are they getting flashbacks of the small-sided Chihuahua field as well?
Well, just seconds later, or like a couple of minutes later, that's Boris kicking one out to the boards, and it's just picked up by Chavez, who had a big game. Collect, one touch, bang. And, Boris right there thinking far post. He goes near post. It's 2-0. And then chance for more. Huge save right there. That's a man breaking open 1v1. Pardo just puts his chest in the way, makes a great save. Showing too many men on Baltimore. Sockers don't convert. 2-0, little back heel. Oop. Ruggles does not get the touch he wants right there. He's right there on the ball. Can't get the touch he wants. Victor Pereira, his ex-teammate at Florida, puts up his brace. It's just sitting there. Oh, can't do that. Can't leave it. And it's 3-0. And at this point, it's late second quarter. You're on the baby field. The Sockers have traveled cross-country the day before. They haven't scored. Uh-oh. Well, allow Nick Pereira to help change things with some help from the defense. Wall pass centering for Adrian Reyes, our upcoming guest. However, it goes off of Baltimore's defender coming in. It's an own goal. It's given to Nick, and it's 3-1. And this is with less than 2 minutes to play, and it's quite a nice feeling. You're like, oh, that's a solid gift. But look, 3-1 could have easily been 4-1 or 5-1. Turnover. Huge save by Boris. That's aimed for underneath the crossbar. He's leaned back on the power of the shot, and he still makes the save. Now, under 90 seconds to play. Neither of those defenders impacted that shot. That was essentially a breakaway shot. And now here's another one. Sprawling
Incredible.
leg save. Now here's another one. That's 4 saves in the last 2 minutes. Now, down low, looking for Reyes. Reyes does the right thing, hits the wall pass, and then bing bong. It pinballs off the leg of a Blast defender, off of Pereira, in fact, a Blast forward. And it's 3-2, and Reyes has a goal that he doesn't feel like he earned, but he did because he was in the right place at the right time. And now there's 11 seconds in the half, Tony, a half that they were dominated and shut out. And all of a sudden, it's own goal 1, own goal 2, 3-2 score. And you have to know if you're the Blast, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be giving away these opportunities in such quick succession going into the half because, again, you could have crushed the morale of the Sockers, but you kept peppering them. You kept being on the offensive side, and you kind of had them on the ropes, but then you give them the opportunity with an own goal. But, again, it was a well-earned own goal at that time. But the Sockers, they maintain their poise, their cool composure, and they get rewarded for it.
If you don't have 100 options, how about you give the ball to Nick a lot and run a Nick-centric offense? And Nick shows you what you can do if you single cover him and you mark all the runners. He's going to check all the runners. He's going to let them make their moves. And then in a beautiful bit of footwork here, as we're watching the replay, he fakes he's going to pass it to Ruggles right there. That just is enough to allow Ruggles to run through, and then he follows him like a running back into the shooting lane and puts it inside right post. Should have been consecutive games with this sole roll goal. However, he was taken down on MASL replay. Of course, under review is not going to admit their situation. But now here's one that could have been, as Leo shoulders down an outlet pass, sends it to Nick, bing bong, base into the back of the net. They challenge this for handball. Nope. That's a shoulder. That's a very, very athletic play. And, of course, the arm does go out unnaturally after that, but where the ball impacts is the shoulder. And that's a legal play. And that's Pereira, and that's 4-3 Sockers, 4 in a row.
I mean, the inclusion of Leo in that play is fantastic, and it's really good to see what better the Sockers are whenever he's on the pitch and on the field. It just frees up so much space because you know what he's going to do, and that's what makes Leo so dangerous. You know what he's going to do, and he's going to go ahead and execute and open up the field. And here, once again, the Sockers get back on the board, and now 5-3 looks much better than when I tuned in at 3-0.
Well, here's Nick on the right side this time. Hold up, double team comes, pass to the runner. Runner shoots and scores. I mean, the Sockers can do this all year. The Sockers can do this all year. They can run the offense through Nick on the pivot, and he's going to always give up the ball when the time is right, and he's always going to shoot when the opportunity is right. 5-3 Sockers becomes 5-4 as Melo once again, this ball kind of sits a little bit right there. 3 guys around it. Nobody gets to the ball. It's so tough. Well, see, Leo thinks that Bebe's going to get it. Bebe thinks Leo's going to get it. Melo gets it. It's 5-4. And then this is classic small field soccer. The save made by Rodriguez. He throws it out perfectly. Chavez shoots it first time. 5-5. This was a Chihuahua goal right here. Oh, boy, did we see that. Down there like 1,000 times. It's practically Reynoso being left-handed and throwing it.
The flashbacks.
Seriously. All of a sudden, it's 5-5. So, fourth quarter starts. How about this? Is that Nick Pereira? No, that's Adrian Reyes. Give Reyes the ball on the pivot. Kid makes a classic hold-up, target forward play, turns, shoots, puts it inside near post, has a recorded brace, gives the Sockers a 6-5 lead. Adrian Reyes, where did they find him? What a play. What a pickup.
I mean, that's just fundamental attacking soccer, right? Just having a nose for goal, knowing exactly where You have to go ahead and lace it as soon as you have that turn opportunity and shoot. As a goalkeeper, your instructions for an offensive players: do not let him turn. Don't let him turn. You let him turn, he gets a great shot, and the Sockers keep piling on from then on.
There's a Childs goal, as always, much needed. Get the captain heated up. Scores it from the pass out on the free kick on left wing. Nice solid Barry on the Charlie rollout. And you got yourself a 2-goal lead reestablished. Pacheco with a bit of the dummy there to freeze the defense. 7-5. Now they go to a 6th attacker situation. Boris now feeling amazing and fortunate as the ball hits off of him and stays next to him. They go 6th attacker. Oops, steal. Oops, Charlie goal. It's really hard to 6th attacker on a small field. It's really, really hard because the turnovers are so close to goal. And Baltimore suffers. They'll get one back here and we'll get one more. But plays like this, like, where are you even passing it, bro?
Yeah, everything's either defensive clearance or a three-line violation. It just makes it so hard.
It really does. I mean, look how tight those two yellow lines are to each other. They're not even proportional. It's silly. That's a goal for Juan Pereira. Down low, 4:20 left. You say, hey, it's not over. That pass took 5 Sockers out of the play all at once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right through all of them to Melo. Very impressive, but still time left. And look at this. 2 veterans hooking up. Cardenas, Childs right off the wall. First time. Completely planned. Return pass, Wallace Scora. 9-6. That winds up being our final, but not before Boris gets a chance for a couple more saves at the end. First, another look at this is how you play Baltimore on their field. Everything's off the walls because you can't go direct because it's so tight. But the walls are always there, and that's why Danny Kelly taught that for decades in Baltimore. Here we go. One-handed save, diving at 2:22. And then in the final seconds, one-handed save diving left and the Mutombo finger wag to say, not today, Baltimore, not today. It's rare that you can give up 6 goals and be automatic for player of the game. But 18 saves for Boris Pardo on Saturday night. And, as you saw in the first half, like 3 breakaway shots that he stopped. Made 4 saves in the last 2 minutes of the first half to keep a 3-1 game from going to 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, as it very easily could have done. And then by the end, he's just locked in. He's in an absolute groove.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been absolutely instrumental. And honestly, like, that work rate from the entire team really helped out. Just, I think it impulses him. He also sees the work that the rest of the team is doing, and he's there to be the goalkeeper. He's the last stop before another team gets to score. And he says, no, and this is my goal. I'm going to make sure that I do my part. And he's been doing it all year. And again, like, who is this Boris Pardo? Like, what happened? What rejuvenation fountain did he go to? Because it's been impressive. And these games are not going to get easier, especially as you go deeper into the season. But for Boris to be able to do the things that he's doing, and, I can see one of those shots being, it's the end of the game, 9-7. We still get the victory. I can see a moment where, like, all right, I'm just going to take it easy on this one. Or not. No, that's not the mentality Boris Pardo has ever had or will have. And that's why he's honestly the best goalkeeper in the league right now. No question.
No question at all. But here was the question. What was going to happen in between? Because that game kicked off after 6 p.m. local time on the East Coast in Baltimore, in Towson. Not in Baltimore, in Towson. Then the game ends. It's, around 8:20. By the time everyone's into the locker room, it's more like 8:30, 8:35. Everyone's got to get showered. People need to get treatment. Everyone's got to get dressed. Everyone's got to get on the bus. Then they've got to eat. You got to get dinner as well because they just played a major arena soccer league game and they've got another one the next day. They need to have fuel. They need to be able to refuel. So that needs to take place. And then you get on a bus ride that, if it was perfect, would have been 6 hours and winds up being closer to 8 hours for San Diego to drive from Towson all the way up through Philadelphia, from the bottom to the top of Philadelphia into New York, and then like 4/5 of the way up New York toward Canada to get to Utica. And they get there as the sun is cresting over their hotel. And literally, it's like people with no sleep go to get breakfast. Other people need to get treatment. The trainer needs to get everything settled and get everyone in. And you get maybe a couple, 3 hours sleep in a bed. If you throw the blackout curtains and everyone is quiet. But that's tough because your body's telling you to be awake and to be asleep at the same time. I mean, I'm sure you've had that feeling, that tired, wired, completely frazzled. And yeah, that was a bus, I believe, that they took. So at least you have that, right? I mean, I can sleep on a bus a little bit, but you can never sleep all the way. It's kind of like on a plane. Like you've got to be the precious gifted few to be able to really actually get like REM sleep on a plane or on a bus. So with all that, and a team that didn't have their young players with them other than Reyes and Estrella, you've got Mendez and Costa and Morales all down in Brazil. You got Tavoy out. You got a lot of older players, guys on the other side of 30 and a couple on the other side of 40, being asked to come back and play the very next day against a Utica team that hasn't played all week and is hosting you at home and is desperate and hungry for a win. If ever there was a recipe for Utica to win, it was on Sunday afternoon at the Adirondack. I can't say it anymore. Bank Center, Adirondack Bank Center. Wow, it felt like I had a stroke. Roll in the highlights for Sockers and Utica City FC playing as the Riggies, Sockers and Riggies, on Sunday. And Brian Wilkin gets the start again. No Xavier. Was hoping we might see Xavier. Nathaniel Lindquist gets the start on the other side for San Diego. First ever appearance in the Major Arena Soccer League. And in the first quarter, gets some shots right at him and really gets a chance to get his hands moving. Here's a third chance on a rollout. Good anticipation. He was a little bit wrong-footed, dove back the other way. Left-handed save. First quarter, no score. Second quarter, well, where am I? Lindquist, that is a rookie error right here. He's out of the crease. Now he said, no, you're not in the crease, buddy. And he knew it as he dove on it. Gives up a shootout. This forces Pardo into the game ice cold against old buddy Gordy Gerson.
Pardo knows too. Like he's like, oh man, like here we go. Like this is I was just playing, man.
And Gordy, this is a classic veteran matchup here. No problem. And then for the newborn at home, congrats to Gordy and partner. 1-0 Utica. Boris back to the bench. Nathaniel back into the net. High shot like that. Not much you can do. So, okay, it's 1-0. And sorry for not getting the day off, Boris. I have heard since that the plan was for Nathaniel to play a half and see how the game went. Instead, a little bit of trouble pops up right here as the ball goes in. Andrew Estrella is just going to kick Brian Wilkin. I was just watching Jackie Chan Police Story 2. Little Jackie Chan Police Story 2 right here. Just solid kick to the chest. Estrella, he's going for the ball. Oh, it's kapow. So that's a 2-minute power play. Yeah, that hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And on the power play, once again, you start to see, first off, good save. Lindquist, you're feeling good. But now you're going to see Gio Alves really take advantage. Just plays it off the wall. Lindquist rushes almost out of his own net. Ball goes right back to Alves. He scores it. Very classic. Oh, you're there? I'm here. Boom. And now it's 2-0. And I think at that point, Boris starts kind of getting loose and saying, okay, well, That's a tough one. Now, I'm here to tell you, as you watch this top of the arc chance go dry, that this next one isn't, to me, on Lindquist. This is a pass out all the way down the field. Bracketed defenders, and Sergio Pinal gets loose, and que golazo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can argue positioning perhaps, but a shot isn't supposed to come from that angle from, potentially, if somebody who's covered, Charlie's covering him well. And, it's a great shot. It's a fantastic poisonous shot.
He could have, if he's getting up closer to the corner of that crease, he's giving himself a better chance to cut down the angle like Boris would do. But if you've just committed a 2-minute penalty for being out of the crease, maybe you're a little worried about that. Regardless, at 3-0, Boris is in, and now Boris is here. And I think on that save right there, with 5 minutes and change left, as Wilkin makes a great save as well, that's where the team calms down and says, okay, we've got Boris in there. We don't need to worry. Nonetheless, Giles misses a chance. Now you're down to 4 minutes in the second quarter. It's 3-0 Utica giveaway. Remy Silva 1v1. Remy, you need to take that shot, buddy. He dribbled right into the range where he could have it taken away. Wilkin comes out of his crease, blocks it away. Here comes another chance on counter for Utica, 3v2. Boris makes the save. Keeps it 3-0. Seconds later, Boris makes the save. That one hits him right in the face.
One of my favorite Boris saves.
Right in the face. He holds up. Makes another save with under 3 minutes to play. Now under 2 minutes to play. And at last, something happens. Cardenas and Pacheco team up. Pacheco gets it loose. Perfect ball for Bond. Strikes at first touch. Says shh to his former fans in the Utica Adirondack Bank Center. Oh, I'm really struggling. Adirondack. And it's 3-1. And the script is starting to be followed, Tony, from Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, another intervention by Bond in this year where he's been a member that's been able to rally with his play and his goals and his offensive prowess this year. And it's really good to see that the Sockers are being able to use that momentum. And here, I mean, un golazo también.
Charlie, just doing what he's done all year, having an MVP-type season so far. Charlie Gonzalez really carrying it right from the $1 million goal, keeping that confidence up, keeping that good spirit, and keeping the run going. He feels it. You can tell, man. He feels like he's going to hit goal with his shots over and over. And just like that, again, instead of 3-0 at the half, it's 3-2. And then the second half begins, and look at this complete breakout all the way down the field. Serta runs it down. Childs sends it across. Reyes picks it out of the air, side volley, and skips it into the net. This is one of the best goals of the year, and I think this will hold up as one of the best goals of the year for the Sockers.
Yeah, I mean, it's picture perfect, right? It's the perfect transition from the defensive side, a classic Childs pass, perfectly weighted, and then you could see the slow motion. The ball comes over to Reyes, and he just volleys it the way that he does, and it's a beautiful goal.
Sockers keeping the pressure up. Big shot outside there. Sets up a corner kick, and then just Charlie again. There's not even a space. There's a ball plus like a millimeter that he can put this through. And he gets it, and he gets 4-3. Now, 4-3, that can't possibly be the final score with a tired, Dragon Sockers team, the second and certainly the fourth quarter. Right? Here's a power play, and it actually is a shorthanded breakaway. And guess who's there? Boris Pardo. And again, Stevens a little late to commit, got too close. There's a huge save by Pardo. Diving to his left. Now he's completely into this game. And that's big trouble. Meanwhile, Reyes, crossbar down. Could have been back-to-back 2-goal games. Sockers, and I'm glad Eddie put a little bit of this in. In the last 4 minutes, they conducted a possession clinic. They passed it up and down the field. They moved the ball around, and they played 4-minute offense, and they just kept the ball away from Utica. And there was, a chance, maybe one or two chances. Here's a little pressure in midfield, but nope. You get to the final 16 seconds. Ball played out. Last chance time for Utica. They were only intermittently able to get into sixth attacker. Boris hangs on to it. 4-3, San Diego. What a clutch result. What an incredible clutch result for the San Diego Sockers to go through everything they did for the second weekend in a row, the compounding fatigue, and to come out of the other end and not give up. Oh, how easy it would have been. And ask the other teams who have done it this year in Utica. Ask Milwaukee how easy it is to blow a 6-1 lead in the second half and to blow the game in the final 30 seconds and to lose it in overtime. Like, Sockers could have left with a point and we would have said, hey, 4 out of 6 points. With everything said and done, that's pretty good. I know we would have said that. They didn't do that. They got all 6 points. They get that win out of Utica. I think it has the chance to be a defining win this season.
Yeah, you can really tell that they use their disadvantage almost to an advantage, right? In Baltimore, you have a small-sided pitch, and sometimes those small sides it's much more fast-paced because there's so many ricochets, there's so much, you don't have the time to think about the play that you want to go ahead and do, and your body doesn't react that quickly. And when you go and you take the space away, then you realize how much you love the space and how much an open and bigger field actually contributes to your style of play. So when they go to Utica, they utilize that advantage of like, okay, we just made it happen without space. Now let's go ahead and go back into our basics, still have this up tempo, and really give it to a Utica's team that was fresh. Like they were waiting for a week, and they had no excuse on a conditioning side to welcome an old veteran San Diego Sockers team with some new additions and some youth on there, right? It was the perfect recipe for a trap game for the Sockers, but they just didn't take it. They had all the excuses in the world that they could have taken, but none of them were. And I think that's what's most impressive. And that's what's going to build confidence in this team, being able to make this result happen, and in different ways as well. Like, yeah, it was a very similar game, 3-2 into the half, down 3 for both. But at the end of the day, they were able to make it happen with great individual skill, but overall a great team effort. And those last moments of just keeping the ball is excellent. Just utilizing the entire space that they have and looking so comfortable. They could have played another game, it seemed, right after. Like, they looked tired for sure, but they looked like they have the confidence to just keep it going if they needed to.
Well, the coffee cup was picked for a reason, because to even just put a cherry on top, the club gathered the next morning at 4 a.m. in the lobby to get to the airport, to take multiple flights to get to San Diego once again. And Monday was a gigantic, awful travel day. And anyone who's experienced a travel day like that, if that was the only thing you did, and you had spent your Sunday on the couch watching football or grilling or whatever, playing around at golf, and that's all you did, you'd be exhausted Tuesday and out of it on Wednesday. Imagine playing 2 major arena soccer league matches with an 8-hour bus ride in between. And, oh, by the way, a transcontinental flight the day before that to get from San Diego to Baltimore. Just unreal travel, the worst travel of the year, compounding off of a 3-game week the week prior that included a morning trip to Tacoma. And it's just, and everyone being out that was out. Paul Savage came up with a sore knee this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Even the trainer, heal thyself. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what has happened for the Sockers to be upright. And thank God they only have to fly to Wisconsin on Thursday or Friday, I think, on Friday. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. only fly to Wisconsin on Friday and play on Saturday and have a chance to come back on Sunday. So like literally yesterday was no bueno for the Sockers. That was for everyone to just sleep. And then today is the day that everyone feels like crap and has jet lag and fatigue and lactic acid and everything else. Tomorrow's like the one chance for them to maybe possibly put together a bit of a practice, and kind of get their legs under them. And then it's back out on the road again. But it's only one game. But it might be the game against the next best team in the league, the Milwaukee Wave, with everything going on. So we'll talk more about that. But right now, let's transition. We would have loved to have had Adrian Reyes join us live tonight on Soccer's Overtime, and normally we'd expect and hope for that to take place. However, young man is not an established MASL veteran. He's also a working man, and is still at work right now, so couldn't join us live. So we said yesterday, hey, we'll work around your schedule, and then we'll do it some more, and let's get a time. So last night, Tony and I gathered with Adrian, and it'll look similar and yet different to everything you see right here, as we had the chance to chat to Adrian Reyes and introduce him to you, the Sockers fans, and the MASL fans watching across the country. So, Tony, let's roll it in. Yesterday, us with Adrian. All right. Let's welcome in one of the newest San Diego Sockers, and boy, did he show up at the right time. And he's shown a little bit of a touch in front of net as well, and that's come at the right time for the San Diego Sockers. Let's say hello. We've seen him in the highlight reels. Now we'll see him in person. Adrian Reyes making his Sockers Overtime debut. Adrian, Craig and Tony here. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, let's get into it, man, because as we said, this is kind of a note of introduction for San Diego Sockers fans. So let's start with your relationship to the sport. Like, how much did you know about indoor soccer? Have you watched the Sockers in your life growing up? And what led you to this club?
So when I was growing up, I actually had a coach. His name's Hector. He was playing with the Sockers. But usually I'm an outdoor field player. I always played on 11s. And I kind of got introduced to, indoor soccer like 3 years ago, because all these cash prize tournaments were offering good money. So like 3 years ago, I started really playing.
And then tell me, I mean, it's a different sport altogether. You have to kind of come to that realization, the indoor game, right? And so what was that transition like coming into the game that you love on the outdoor game, but ahora con bardas with walls on the side and not having those elements on there?
No, it's definitely quicker because the ball doesn't really go out unless, it's like a defensive clearing or something like that. But it's like really fast. And then these guys are professionals. So like before they even get the ball, they already know what they're going to do. And it's just super, super fast. And then playing with Sockers, they're like kind of a legendary team. So it's just, you have to like keep up with the pace.
Well, which is what you've been thrown into here, right? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of injuries for the club. You signed, and then immediately you've appeared in 3 matches on this 6-match road trip. You've seen the first 3 of them. So you talk about trial by fire. Is like, how about overnight flights or pre-dawn flights and overnight bus rides? Like the less sexy aspects of the MASL, but nonetheless, what's been your general impression here 3 matches in?
It's honestly, it's fun, but oh man, the travel is it's hectic. It's tiring on your body. It's not something I like, but if you love the sport and like, playing with the Sockers, it's kind of, you have to do what you have to do to play with them.
And then, traveling all the way into the East Coast, you go into Baltimore and you also go into Utica, 2 different sized fields. And so did that pose a different challenge for you, just kind of adapting to that size difference in Baltimore, much smaller than what you see here at Front Wave Arena, and then also in Utica?
Yeah. Baltimore is good. You had to be kind of like clever with the 3 lines, and then we mostly played like with the boards in Baltimore because man, it was super small, super small.
Yeah, I've been there, man. It's a college
Yeah,
basketball court, is what it is. They put some
yeah,
boards around a college basketball
yeah.
court. But Adrian, just tell people a little bit about yourself. I mean, I got the bio text from you, San Diego, Tijuana. Just tell us a little bit about that journey in terms of your childhood growing up interacting with soccer.
So yeah, I started playing soccer here in San Diego, but then like 3 years ago, as I said, indoor soccer is really big in TJ, and I think they produce like some of the best players. So
Yes.
3 years ago, playing over there, it kind of made me like more technical, I guess. But um, yeah, because over here it's kind of more physical, up and down, up and down. But TJ, it's fast but technical, so that really helped me. Um, but yeah.
And I mean, over there in Tijuana, you're playing over in Furati, I imagine, some
Yeah.
places. I
We
mean,
also
that
played in the Matamoros. It's like futsal, but man, the level over there is insane. Like it's like so popular over there.
and then bring it in over here. Now, obviously, East Lake High School. Was that something that you were also kind of playing in those times, playing maybe some street soccer with the pals, or even with the high school itself? What was that kind of mid-teenage journey for you?
So I mostly like growing up, I played like just 11s mostly, but I actually live like super close to an indoor, so that's kind of the most I played indoor soccer. But growing up, I played just 11s.
The Salt Creek indoor field.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
I live like a couple minutes away.
It's an excellent spot, by the way. If ever you are in the South Bay, guys, Chula Vista, out
Mhm.
east, good spot to go play pickup.
Yeah.
Good. Tony is geographically exactly there as well, so he knows of what he speaks. So you talked about it. You're coming to a veteran club. You're coming to a club that was not off to the most amazing start this season, trying to find its way. You've found your way the first couple of games. To what would you attribute your ability to get into the flow quickly enough to be looking up, and you've already got 4 goals?
Honestly, the guys really help you a lot. Like, if you do something wrong in practice or if you make a mistake, they'll pull you to the side. They'll be like, Adrian, for this, you got to go, play me to my feet, play the goalie. It was really, honestly, the guys. And then also practice. It's really high intensity practices. And, we do them daily. So you kind of get used to the soccer's style of play.
And then in one of these games, you get yourself a goal, a half volley. Take me through that goal, and has that been your favorite goal here this season, or what has been your best contribution that you can remember here early on in the get-go?
The half volley from Utica?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite goal. Honestly, the ball that Craig gave me, oh my god, like it couldn't have been better. Like the ball, oh, he hit it perfect way, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna do something with this one. But that's my favorite goal though.
I tell you, the one that really impressed me, and not that I'm going to be like, no, I think the best one is, but in terms of game situation, you're in a 5-5 match in Baltimore where you guys were down 3-0, and that was classic hold-up play, Adrian. You accepted the ball, back to net, took the touch, freed your right foot, and you got that cracker away and ripped it in for the goal. That felt to me like, okay, this guy's been around a little bit. You know how to post somebody up and turn them.
Yeah, that one. Honestly, since I started indoor, that's been kind of like my move. Kind of mask the ball with my body and then turn on them. But yeah, honestly, that one too. That one too really kind of caught me off guard because like I'm playing against professionals and I've only done this like against amateur players and it worked. So I was really surprised.
Well, along those lines, Adrian, as you mentioned, you literally walked into the 2 worst road trips.
Oh my gosh.
that the Sockers have. I mean, those are 1 and 2 to go back to, early morning up to Tacoma and then to do the Baltimore Utica. Everyone knows that's the toughest trip in the league. There's a Kansas City back-to-back later at the end of the year that's going to suck too. But but those two are wicked. So how excited are you to get to the point where February 1st rolls around and you have the opportunity to play on the blue turf at home and be in front of the San Diego fans in Oceanside?
Oh, I'm gonna be way more comfortable because over in Utica and Baltimore, we were running on like 3 hours of sleep. So, oh man, it was hectic. But yeah, I'm really what's the word? I'm really excited to play home field. And then the turf is new, the stadium's new, the atmosphere is nice. Yeah, I'm really excited.
You already have people coming over, wanting to come see you here locally.
Yeah, all my family, my
Comment?
friends, they're all from over here. So yeah, they're gonna make the trip up.
Well, it's really great to have you on the team, man. And trust me, your contributions have been duly noted and appreciated. You came at exactly the right time for a team that's been really struggling with injuries and with guys out at King's Cup. So welcome to the Sockers fans, bringing you the love, bringing you the good feeling, watching this interview and reflecting it back to you. We give you the best of luck in Milwaukee, which is a pretty cool town to visit. I'm sure it's going to be cold, but at least you're only going in for one night and one match, so that should be fun. And we look forward to seeing you either at a training coming up, but especially February 1st at Front Wave Arena.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect. Have a good one, man.
There he goes. There he went. And he gone. Adrian Reyes, thanks so much for the time. Great to hear from the rookie, Tony. And, it's crazy. Those cash game tournaments, man, those Kings League, like there is an allure for the top players in small-sided soccer to, play all year long. And, while I'm so bummed that we don't have players like Christian Gutierrez and Brandon Escoto and Luis Perez, on the team, and the Rojos on the team right now, I do see their Facebook posts of holding up the championship trophy, playing here, there, and everywhere, including places in the U.S., by the way, and, picking up the checks. And literally, as you heard, that is Adrian Reyes' path to the MASL, as he has crossed paths in cash tournaments with some of these guys to catch a coach's eye, to say, give him a chance. And here he is.
Yeah, and I mean, it really tells to the level of talent that, Adrian has himself, because it's not easy to make that transition, as we've talked about, with some of the greatest players of the outdoor game as well. So to be able to be so young and coachable, I think is the biggest thing. And you can tell the appreciation he has for his teammates and the veterans around him, and he's listening. And that's the biggest thing that a young player can do, regardless of if you grew up with the game or not. And the indoor side of it, if you're going to be a sponge and you're going to be absorbing and listening to what the old veterans are saying, and that's the key to success for sure. And he's a young kid, man, and you can tell it's a morro, and that's the thing that maybe this soccer team also needs, that dopamine, that injection of youth, and maybe that's how you build this future soccer team along with other teams. Which, by the way, I was looking at the Kings World Cup results as of today. Yes,
they're out.
Yep.
Spain beat the U.S. in the quarterfinals 9-3. And so the U.S. run in the Kings World Cup Nations in Brazil is over. The quarterfinals are tomorrow, or the semifinals are tomorrow, and the finals the next day. But I'll just clear out, this is a piece of soccer's news, but I'll just clear it out right now, seeing as you brought it up. From all we know so far, the three players are healthy. Now, Luis Morales did not play in the last two games of the tournament for Team USA, and then he put up a Instagram post today, which said in it, let's see here, a worst thing a player can experience is watching his team go to war and without him, and watching his team go to war without him and not be able to do nothing about it. So what does that mean? Coaching issue, or did he get hurt? And
no, I do believe that in the tournament there was a VAR, Vinicius referee, of him just pushing somebody, defending one of his teammates, and he had to sit out for a suspension, and that's why he wasn't able to play in in that, so he had to watch from the stand. So I believe that's what that was in reference to, and hopefully,
That
yeah,
sucks.
I mean, hopefully, yeah, 100%.
Well, my understanding is that even if they got on a plane tomorrow, that the idea is for none of them to play, like no one to try to get to Milwaukee. That would be crazy. I mean, it would be absolutely crazy to be like, okay, you played for 2 weeks in Brazil. Now Thursday fly to San Diego, Friday fly to Milwaukee, Saturday play a game in Milwaukee. That's nuts. Watch Sebastian show up, but just because he's nuts. Young kid like that, he don't care. He'll just be like, "Where's the flight? I'll go." And maybe Gabby will be that way, but he's got a family. Like to me, the idea from what I've heard today was that there's no expectation that any of those guys are going to play before the Thursday match next week against Empire. So expect the absences to continue going into Milwaukee this weekend. With that, we get to MASL news. And of course, last week we had a bit of a rant that Boris Pardo didn't win MASL goalkeeper of the week that he had a shutout. At least that shutout was hived into the month of December as it came on December 30th. And he was on Team of the Month for the MASL, along with Luis Pirueta of Tacoma, and of course, Charlie Gonzalez on that list for San Diego too. So the Sockers get 2 players on the Team of the Month. And that's probably all that they, rightfully earned, given the way that first month went for San Diego. But Charlie has continued his terrific play, and obviously so has Boris, which led to Player of the Week. And Boris was undeniable for the league this week. And for his 4-point effort in Baltimore, Nick Pereira gets Offensive Player of the Week as well. Even though he did get shut out in Utica, he had a huge effort and clearly was the focal point of the power of the Sockers' offensive side of that win. Mario Alvarez, who we will see on Saturday, Super Mario, had the same number of points, if I remember right, as Nick this week with a couple of blocks, and he gets Defensive Player of the Week. So there are the honors, and always good to see the weekly award corrected, but the monthly award probably has a little more weight anyhow. So, what a start to the year for Boris Pardo, and for him to step up at the time when there was needed the absolute most, and for the team to have gone 1-1 on the back-to-back games. Getting any win in those travel back-to-backs is huge. And, they've gotten 3 out of the 6 points, but that's where you felt like, okay, this is where the drop-off, instead of a fresh Toth or Pardo in a game 2, you've got Boris playing back-to-back with hours of plane flight and pre-dawn wake up and no sleep and everything else. And my gosh, it's hard for anybody to bounce back. And the keeper never rests. The keeper has to go the whole time. So for him to do what he's done right now, he's the most valuable player in the league. There's no question. And the hope is that when Chris does come back, that he'll get a chance to carry the baton a little bit as well and not wear Boris out, so that when you get to the playoffs, you do have that opportunity to have 2 fresh aces, at the back of your line.
Yeah, and I know Boris is also enjoying getting those extra minutes, especially, having the other goalkeeper that is right next to you in most minutes ever played in the league. That's something that also what factors into his doing well, because for him to be doing what he's doing, it's something that you expect from a goalkeeper in their youth, in their prime, and just with the recovery aspect alone, and to be doing it at such a high level, and again, being that leader that we've seen Boris do with his actions is really incredible, and it's really putting everything together. There's that calmness that once Boris is back there, you don't have to look back anymore. He's going to take care of what you need to do. You're not going to have to clean up a mess potentially. And this is not necessarily a commentary on Lundqvist or anything, but this is now this is Boris's team for sure, and top to bottom. Whatever Boris is going to go ahead and showcase, the rest of the team is definitely going to follow in that same step as well. I do believe Craig is
Hi.
here. There he is.
Yep,
How
I'm
are
here.
you? Good.
When I switched internet providers, it wasn't great. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to shout out the company, but it wasn't great. And it just periodically will just turn off for like 10 seconds and then turn back on. And I can see it. The server's right over there. And I see it just goes to a red dot. And it's like 10 seconds of a red dot. And then it's back to me. And it's happened all the time. And sometimes it's if James is playing games, but he's not playing games right now because it's a school night. So, yeah, it's just shite internet. Anyways, so, I was looking up while I froze, and indeed, I didn't catch the minutes yet, but Boris has passed Chris for career starts by 2 based on this particular run. And he'll be able to push that out to whatever it is, 6, 7, 8, 9 more. Be like, come catch me now, Chris. We're on the same team. So that's just a fun thing to think about along the way. But he certainly locked things down for San Diego. And then having said that, how about the guys who are just running around, doing the job for San Diego? And I would single out not just Reyes, but the young man Estrella and Sean Callahan and Jesus Pacheco, and then the veterans, Serta and Cardenas and Ruggles, who have been out there playing the heavy minutes, defensively and taking care of it. Taylor Bond getting out there when he can get out there, battling a bad back and getting out there. Leo played back-to-back and Bond played back-to-back. First time all year that's happened. Those guys have been going through and they are continuing to manage issues. Felipe's knee blew up on the plane flight. Turns out he was on the trip and couldn't play. So they played one man short the entire weekend on top of everything else. Right? On top of everything else, they played a man short and got the job done. And with that, just taking a quick look at what's going on, standing way, we've seen the players of the month, we've seen the players of the week, and we've given out the flowers as appropriate. Milwaukee goes to Kansas City and wins.
Yeah.
Tacoma goes to Empire and gives up 10 goals. And gets stomped by a team that couldn't score more than 3. Give up 10 to Empire. All of a sudden, things start to crystallize a little bit more. And I'm starting to think that the goal differential column is a place that's starting to speak at least a little bit of truth in the MASL standings. Because there's a couple of things that really stand out to me. Tacoma is still sitting in the middle of the pack. They're 5-0 at home. Their goal differential is -9 for the year. And of course, we know what that means. It's 8-0 and it's 10-3. Those are the scores of their 2 road games so far. 2 absolute non-competitive wipeouts in California. And as we had noted, researching when Tacoma came in 3-0, like except for 1 year, every time that they've started 4-1, they've finished 500. And it's because the road catches up to the Stars. Keep in mind, as tough as it is to get to Tacoma, Tacoma flies the most miles of any team in the league. Them and Utica. But Utica at least can bus, I guess, to Baltimore, 8 hours. Sure, it'd be nicer to fly it. I'm sure, but no one can bus anywhere to Tacoma. It's always a plane flight in and out. So Tacoma usually gets worn down by the road as time goes on. Meanwhile, I look at the bottom of the standings and I, Empire 0 goal differential with that 2-5 record, 0 goal differential. And they've played and they're about to go play 2 more games on the road this weekend. They're going to wind up, if I remember right, at 9 out of 13 road to home when they get to the 13 game mark. So even if Empire stays down there for a little while, I feel like they're a team that's going to have an opportunity to exchange with Tacoma in the standings as the year moves on. And likewise, I don't know that. Well, St. Louis has gotten all of their 6 games against Kansas City out of the way, so that's nice. But I kind of still feel like, in the end, Utica, St. Louis, and Tacoma are going to be 6, 7, 8 in some order. And one of those teams will make the playoffs and 2 of them won't. And that's my personal feel, just watching the league at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sustainability aspect, right? You saw Tacoma Stars come out, guns a-blazing, and it's just they've got figured out this early, and not necessarily figured out. It's just a matter of them not scoring as well. Like the game against the Sockers, it was a great defensive game. It was a great game for Boris, but it was a horrible game offensively for the Tacoma Stars. So, and we've seen Empire be able to reach a level that is needed in order to break into that playoff just threshold for this league as well. And they have the youth. That system, while it's a little bit controversial and it's different, it does require a lot of effort, a lot of work rate, a lot of energy, and they have the youth to do that. And so I think with practice, they're going to be able to figure that out. And it's a matter of time before these things start shifting. But it's top of the table where, I mean, the Sockers are back in there. Maybe Milwaukee's at 1-2. We're gonna see, and we're gonna find out. But will we find out a lot from this next game? We'll see, because there's still a lot of players that are missing.
That's true. I mean, if Milwaukee wins, San Diego's got 6 excuses in the back pocket that are all valid and fair, to say, well, we're going to come at you the next time we see you with a completely different team. When I look at the top of the bracket, Kansas City's got to feel like their hold on first place is tenuous at best. I mean, you've got 3 extra games played, and let's be real, you're 6-5. You're 6-5 all told. And yeah, you've got a couple of overtime losses. That's a point here and there. You've got, I believe, a couple of overtime wins along the way. And that's diluted you down to 18 points out of 33. That's 15 missed for Kansas City. They've only picked up a little over half of their total points, right? By contrast, you can see San Diego and Milwaukee have picked up 2/3 of their possible points. They've got 16 out of 24 so far. And you like Kansas City's road record, 4-1-1. Then you also figure that 2 of those were coming in that Kansas City St. Louis back and forth that they just played each other over and over and over again. So, and I look at the goal differential and I say, okay, +6 after 11 games. That's befitting a team that's basically 6-5. So if either the Sockers or Milwaukee keep their form, or if both teams keep their form, Kansas City will be 2nd or 3rd place, by the time the games played evens out, at some point 2/3 of the way through the season or whatnot. Their lead on the league is illusory right now. It's not real. And whomever I think wins on Saturday takes the inside lane for the Supporters' Shield. Not that it's over by any means, obviously, but the schedule isn't going to give San Diego a bunch of chances remaining to go run down Milwaukee head to head. If it's Kansas City out in front, they've got 5 games against them out of 6 at the end of the year. Right. So that's somebody that they can run down. But for Milwaukee, this is your chance to take care of business, pick up another W, and even the season series. And in doing so, you're going to wind up taking the lead and taking that inside lane.
Yeah, and I mean, Milwaukee is that team that's very well balanced in the roster construction. They have a lot of veterans, they have a lot of youth, and a lot of explosive players, as well as a great goalkeeper as well. So it's going to be a test for the Sockers to really have a chance to maintain that upper hand from Milwaukee. But I mean, yeah, we were talking about it last week, how funky that standings table is. You have Tacoma there with -9 goal differential in 4th place. Like, that's not going to last for a while. But for right now, I think if the Sockers are able to maintain that same pace, and they've gotten some rest days under them, and just come back, build some chemistry, and just run it back the way you've been able to brave the elements and travel over in the East Coast. And they have a chance to go ahead and really take it to the wave. And if they do, now we're cooking. Now it's very interesting moving forward as well.
Right. I mean, the league needs San Diego to struggle on this road trip, because when the road trip is over, they're going to be 7 games road, 4 home, and they'll be at the 11 game mark. And so obviously you've got 3 more home games than road games the rest of the way, and this furthermore, until you get to the very end, when there's an insane, only AI could ever have spit this out, Kansas City, San Diego weekend home road back-to-back. Just why? Why would you corrupt your product like that, MASL? Why would you allow an algorithm that will never board a plane flight? An algorithm that feels no pain when it's 3 a.m. and you had to go to bed at midnight. To let that be scheduled. But regardless, things really settle down for San Diego once this month of January is over, and it's a lot more 1-game weekends, and it's a lot more home weekends, and things spaced out nicely. So you better get them while you can, and that makes this game really, really important, I think, for Milwaukee as well. They're a good team. They're balanced. Bonahene is playing wonderfully. Sanchez and Alvarez are good young players. Bennett still finds ways to contribute. Max Ludwig is a young player that's really stepped up for Milwaukee and is buzzing around and has been tough to handle. And the Steinwashers, of course, are pesky on both sides of the field. Never leave out the Steinwashers. There's a lot of good players on Milwaukee. Marcio knows what he's doing. He won Coach of the Month for December. He earned it. And they've only got 1 regulation loss in 8 games. Now they've got 2 overtime losses, and those were games that they blew leads. So it's not been a perfect trip for the Wave. They're not unbeatable, but they are at home. They've got this game circled. This is a critical game for both teams, their last chance against one another. And I think it's just obviously game of the week, and has a chance to be game of the month here in the MASL.
Yeah, and it's a matter of both sides coming to play and seeing the best version that they can go ahead and offer. But at home field advantage, the Sockers are able to take it. Excuse me, for Milwaukee, if it's home field advantage, the Sockers are able to take it to you. Then there's a moment of reassessing. But it's going to be the challenge here after a road trip that is a different type of challenge. But on the floor, this is going to be the biggest challenge that they've faced so far.
Yeah, and I want, I've heard some things for injury way, but the way the Sockers go, what would be the point of me saying anything? It could all change tomorrow. It could change at the airport. They've got the legs they've got right now, basically, and whatever they can put together, you're going to get 100% of that roster on Saturday in Milwaukee. And as I said earlier, I'll say to kind of close the show, I do think in this league where a couple 3 players can dominate, where a couple 3 players can really be the fulcrum of a team's offense and make things very simple for the rest of the club. If you've got the other players that are buying in to dig in deep defensively and play their roles and run and get in the way of the ball and prevent open shots, and you've got a goalkeeper that's playing hot, you can win games if you've got Nick Pereira on your team, the all-time assist leader who's 6'4" and built like 2 tree trunks, attached to a supercomputer. And, you just lean on him and he'll lean back on you and let the runners run around the tree. And the tree will give the pass off perfectly because the supercomputer tells the branches what to do. I mean, it's wild, and it works. And I remember you and I talking about that at 4 Nations Cup and going, ooh, this can really work. And then, it takes a while for everyone to okay, well, I guess we just need to throw it to Nick 20 times, and it's different because you've got so many guys. And when Sebastian and Gabby and Luis come back, but Luis Morales saw it the previous weekend. Oh, I can take a run off of Nick Pereira and Nick will get me the ball in the right spot. And he's got the strength to hold off the defense, and he's got the ability when the double team comes to pass it to the right guy at the right time. So I think the offense is getting Nick centric, and I think Charlie has the opportunity to take advantage. And it's not the worst spot for San Diego to be in. You want everyone to come back, but at the same time, having a few guys out there, the Callahans and Estrellas and Reyeses and Pacheco's of the world that aren't like, well, what are my numbers? Like, it's not the worst thing that's happened for the Sockers and allowed them to patch their way through this part of the season.
Yeah, it's a hungry bunch of young players out there. And I'll even give a shout out too. I forgot to mention in the Utica game that even coaching has stepped it up, right? I truly believe that in that Utica match, in those final moments when Boris and the Sockers were getting peppered, there was a challenge that Phil Salvaggio took that there was nothing to challenge for.
Yes.
That challenge cut the momentum completely from Utica. And that's what I believe iced that game completely for Utica. And they had one more shot or one more just ball in the air that Boris grabbed, but they were very close to that. And I heard the announce team just say, like, what is there to challenge? There was no blue card there. It's like, no. That was just a timeout challenge. Like,
it was
great coaching.
Yeah, it was. And, Phil and Cheeky and Renee deserve a ton of credit, for what they've been able to put together. And they looked at this 5-game stretch as kind of a bracketed stretch from the Tuesday Tacoma game to the Empire Tacoma back-to-back to the Baltimore Utica back-to-back. And 4-1 is the record through that with 12 points. Like that's a really, really solid output. And I think that would have been what they hoped to get out of that. Like, if we can get 4-1, wow, look out. Yeah, if we get 3-2, it's probably okay. But they didn't. They got 4-1. So huge for the team. Chance to keep it going. Single match and a really interesting, fun mid-season. Here we go showdown. This be the finals. San Diego and Milwaukee. If so, wouldn't you want the final game be in San Diego and not be in Milwaukee? Yes, you do. And getting the Shield is important for a veteran team when the playoff schedule can allow for you to have enough rest. A team like San Diego to say, you've got to beat us at home to beat us. When they're at the end of the year and everyone's primed and ready and hungry for the same job, like, it's going to be tough if you win the Shield. So I think Saturday is a big game. It's not a death knell by far if you lose, but it's a big game if you win. It's a really big game if you win.
I'm really looking forward to it. That's what my sporting consumption is going to revolve around this weekend is this match, San Diego Sockers and Milwaukee Wave, and been enjoying watching some Sockers as of late too.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to go ahead and roll on out of here with Season 8, Episode 8 of Sockers Overtime. It's always a wonderful thing every season to be here for you Sockers fans and for you MASL fans, and to chat to the players, to bring you the coaches, to bring you some of the voices from around the league. It is a labor of love that we do here for you. And Tony, of course, it's done in conjunction with your wonderful SanDiego.Futbol group. You guys have certainly had a busy couple of weeks. Thankfully, no Sockers defections except just to go down to Brazil for a couple of weeks. Like, it's not like Craig Childs is moving to North Carolina or something, Regardless, tell everyone where they can catch up with all the crazy things that are happening.
Absolutely. You can check it out. SanDiego.Futbol, 2 balls and a mic, the show that's taken us to the World Cup. Chiva and I have officially been accepted as FIFA journalists, and so we are ready to make that journey to the World Cup and cover the World Cup for San Diego. So check us out, SanDiego.Futbol, for anything and everything soccer related in San Diego. Craig?
Well, Padres Hot Tub recording 2 days late is actually going to record after we're done with this tonight. So you can check out and look for a new show tomorrow, talking about San Diego Padres. And then actually, they had a couple of coaching staff hires, old friend hires today. Buddy Black, Will Myers. What?
What year are we?
Yeah, it's 2015 all over again. So you can see that tomorrow. Our patrons will get those shows tonight. And you can always support us at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Also, tomorrow, Tony and Alex and I will be back with a new episode of the Chromaniacs. We got together on Friday for an emergency podcast when it was announced that Chucky Lozano would no longer be part of the sporting plans for San Diego FC. The latest report that I heard today was Chucky doing his Leo DiCaprio Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't leaving.
Se queda. He stays.
So, what? What's going on?
Oh, man.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow.
With audio from training as well.
Outstanding. So we'll have that for you tomorrow on season 2, episode 2 of the Chromaniacs. And you can find us on YouTube as well as wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. With that, for Tony Sanchez, for Adrian Reyes, I'm Craig Elston saying thanks to you for watching the show. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button and you came in midway, please hit the thumbs up button on the way out. And until next week, thanks for tuning in and go Sockers!